Hey guys, welcome back. So guys, as we are continuing our Codigniter 4 crash course series, so till now we have done about fetching the data and inserting the data. Okay, and now guys we are going to edit and update the data. So guys, let's go to this page called students, where we are fetching this row over there. So let's get back to our VS Code and let's move to our index.php file. Okay, so this is the page, guys. So this is a table where we have fetched the data, and now this is the button where we are seeing with the edit. So now let's give the URL. Let's create a URL for it. So open PHP. Let's give is equal to, because we have to echo that URL. So is equal to means echo. That's a shortcut in PHP. Okay, now let's give base URL function, where inside this you are going to assign the function name. So let me give /student /edit / and concatenate the $row of ID. So what ID you are going to concatenate over here? Okay, so this ID which you are fetched, right? So that ID only I'm concatenating over here. Required, give a semicolon, and not required, just leave that. So guys, this one which is there, right? Let's move here and let's refresh, and let's see on this. Click on this edit, add one. Cool. So the data has come, your URL is set. So let's create a route for this. So let's copy and go back to our code, and now guys let's go to routes.php. so this is the routes where this file is called under config folder. So inside your config folder, routes.php. so let's create a route where routes, where I'm going to use get function to get that URL. Okay, so what is the URL you are going to get, as you just copied from your index page from this. So let's copy this and call that into a single quotes. Let's call that single quotes and give we are passing the number from here, so you can use num number. And inside this, now we have to go to the student controller. So we have already made that. So let me just copy and paste over here and change the function or a method to it. So when you're passing any number, you have to pass your at the function also. That is $1. So this is a method how you pass the data, whatever you are sending by the URL. So now let's go to student controller with the edit function. Let's move and let's create now. So let's create a function called fun, where you can type over here edit and that ID you are going to pass. Okay, so ID is equal to null, where first let us view this ID is coming or not first perfectly. So let's give echo where $ID. Let me save and let's get back over here, refresh, and now guys we are going to click on it. So let's click on ID number 1. You can see that ID has 1 is fetched. Cool. So now let's get back to our code and start the coding. Let's remove this, and now guys we have to create a variable called student, because we are working with the student model. Let's call our model called student model, where this student model should be imported at the top, as you can see over here. So this model is already created, where you can see this classes and tables are assigned with that. So let's move to our controller again, and now guys we are going to code. So now let's create a variable called data, and inside that data variable I am creating one more array called student, and inside that we are to do that finding of model student. So let's find the student, where you can use the find function to find a single value or a single data. Okay, you can use multiple also, but currently we required only one data. Now guys let us return return view function, and inside this we are going to students folder where edit.php file, and in that file I am going to pass this variable called data. So let's create a page called edit inside our view folder. So let me just go to app views. Inside students folder I am going to create one new file called edit.php file. Done. And this is the blank page, guys. So to edit these datas, we can use the same form which we are using for add one, right? So we can use this same form to use it edit. So let me just copy and paste that. Let's go to create.php and Control A, Control C, and go back to your edit page and paste that. That's it. So now let's remove this URL called students add, and now we will see the output first. So before that, let me change this also, where edit, and let me just minimize this sidebar. Okay, so let's see the output. So I'm going to click on this edit one, where ID 1, and over here we have to fetch the data. So we have already passed the variable inside the student controller called data. So inside the student, data variable, you have a student array. So let's copy that name student and call over here. Let's call it in a value in your input box. Value is equal to where open PHP and open PHP is equal to and close PHP. So inside this close PHP, I'm going to call students variable, where I'm going to pass that name. Okay, and let's give semicolon. So this is the name. Now let's see the output for this once. Yes. Okay, so data has perfectly fetched, right? So guys, now let's call everything for its values. Let's get back and copy the variable, value, and paste, and let's change the name of it. So let's call the name phone and the course. So these fields are nothing but from your database. Okay, so that database names, right? So we are fetching that, and then guys, we are going to create a base URL. So before that, let's test once, refresh. You can see all the data have come successfully. And now guys, let us move to our code, and now over here we are going to create a variable, your route for the updating. So student /update / where I'm going to concatenate $student of its ID. So we will be using put method to update. So many things in route, you have seen the get, post, and now we will be using put method to update this data. So let's come over here and let's assign the put method. So in Codeigniter, if you go to your documentation, like, okay, how will you type _ method? Just give method. It will just search for you HTTP methods. Over here you can see this, right? So let's copy this and get back to our code and then paste. That's it. So this is your put method. With this help of put value, it will fetch. So let's go to our route and create a route for this. So let me just copy, and this is the ID which we are passing with the help of post method and put method. So let's move on. Create a route. Yes, routes where put. Okay, let me give semicolon and then pass this, where you are going to pass the ID inside this. So use num and then send your controller. So let me just copy this same thing and paste over here and change the edit to update. Done guys. So this is the update thing. If you use put or patch, you have to use update function to update the data. So not this one, but I'll just tell you. Okay, so let's go to a controller called where you have to create an update function. So let's move to a controller and create one public function where you are going to create update, and inside this let's pass the variable called $ID is equal to null. So make sure this $ID variable is coming. If you are not getting anything, please echo and check. So I'm getting the output. Okay, so let's code that data. So first you can call the model. So as simple, let's call the model called student, and now let's call the data. So $data is equal to, inside this array you are going to send all the name fields. So what are the name fields you are going to send is like as we have inserted into our database, so the same names we have to send. So you can use get post method of name inputs. You can get that phone, email, course, okay, which is from your edit.php file. You can see name, email, phone and course. So these details it will take and go to its route and come back to its controller where you can see all the data. So now guys, you are going to use that update function. So let's type that, tell student update function, and inside this $id, first value will be the $id, and then give comma and then little space, one space, and then pass the data whatever you are going to update. Okay, and this student is nothing but your variable which you have created over here. That's it. So after updating, where you have to go, let's return and redirect. Where you are going to redirect to, you can use this method also. In previous video we learned about directly redirecting. So in this video we'll learn about one more thing, to redirect. Okay, so which will be redirect after, like when I go to update this, after updating, where I want to redirect, I want to redirect on this page. So let's copy this and paste. So you cannot directly paste, you have to call your base or site URL. So let's call that base URL, and then what I want with the message I want. So let's pass with function, where inside that status I will pass, and this status will be printed. So let's tell student updated successfully. That's it. And now guys, this help of status, you are going to print the message. So now let's save this, and guys, let me just refresh. Okay, so everything is working fine. So that error was because of this, we didn't complete that, so it was showing. So let's copy this status, and you can go to your index page where you can see that how to print the message. So I've just made a simple format where session get flash data status and echo that status. Simple. So let's get back, let's save, and now go to our browser. Let's update this. So from Ved Prakash, I am going to make Ved Prakash N. So let's give space N. I am going to update this. So let me just click on save. Not save, we have to make it update. So let's make that button name update, where it is edit. Let me make it to update. Save that, and now let's get back. Let's refresh. Update button changed, and now let's update. I'm going to click on update. You can see student updated successfully, where you can see the record is correctly updated. So guys, now I'll just change this Mohan to Kiran. Okay, so let's make it Kiran, Kiran at gmail.com. Let's update. You can see the output, student updated successfully. So guys, we have updated this using the which method? Put method. Okay, so this put method, if you want to access this put method, make sure you are giving this value. So guys, that's it in this video about how to use put method, and in next video we'll be seeing about how to delete the data using delete method. So guys, thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe, like and share.